So these are the instructions for the assignment called Transition Practice. So in week 1, you should see a pink folder called Transition Practice. If you open it up, there's a bunch of stuff in here. And what I want you to do is go into that folder. Eventually, you're going to submit it down here to the assignment page. But first, we need to download all the stuff. And you have to follow these steps exactly if you want to download them correctly. Start by clicking on jordan.jpg. It'll open big. Right-click on it, save image as. And we're going to go back to our folder for this class on your OneDrive. Go to your video production folder. I want you to make a new folder. Call it Transition Practice, or TP for short. Go into that folder, save Jordan. And then you can just either get rid of the download page and hit next, or you can go back to the folder and then click on Weird Al. Either way, you want to see Weird Al here. It's a much smaller image than Jordan. That's okay. Right-click, save image as. Save it there. Next. Right-click on Ferris, save image as. Again, you have to save these from their individual pages. Don't try to save them from the main folder where you can see them all at once. You should just see one at a time. Right-click on Dr. Pepper. Notice, again, all the images are different sizes. And then you're going to finish up by going and getting the music. The music, you got to be careful here. You need to go onto its page where you could listen to it. Right under the player, it says latenightradio.mp3. Right-click, save link as, and it may not look like it, but you're still in your Transition Practice folder. It's just not showing you anything, because when you save a song, it only shows you other songs in that folder, and there are none yet. So save it, and then if you're not confident it's all there, you can open up your folders, go to the Transition Practice folder, and you should see all your stuff in there, all 4 pictures and the song. Then we're going to go into Premiere. And once you're in Premiere, let's make a new project. Call it Transitions Practice, or TP. Create it. We're going to skip the import screen as usual. You know this stuff by now. Go ahead and import everything from that folder. Grab everybody, bring them in. Okay. And the steps here, the order of events are important. You can be in list view or icon view, it doesn't matter. But what you need to do is click on just Jordan so that it's the only one highlighted. They were all highlighted when you imported them. Just click Jordan, then click and drag Jordan over. Make that be the first one on the timeline. Then let's do Ferris second. Ooh, make sure they're touching. Zoom out on your timeline a little bit. Let's do Weird Al next. Let's do Dr. Pepper next. And let's put the song in underneath. All right. And then if you jog forward with the playhead, you will right away see that the Ferris Bueller image is much bigger than Jordan. And because you put Jordan on the timeline first, everything is just going to kind of fit on the timeline within the confines of how big the Jordan image is. So we need to shrink this. To do that, you're going to right click on that purple Ferris.jpg down on the timeline, and you're going to look for scale to frame size. If you don't see it, you might have a black arrow at the bottom of this panel. Just click on it and it'll go down until you see scale to frame size. That's going to instantly shrink it to fit, but because it's a square and Jordan's a rectangle, you have these black bars on the side. To fix that, if we want to get rid of those, you're going to double click on the image up here. You'll get all these little white or gray dots around the edges. Grab one of them and scale it up until it's as big as the entire frame. And then try clicking on Matthew Broderick's face and dragging him down. You can only drag an image or video like this if you've double clicked it. And now it's looking good. All right, you've kind of fit it into there. So now you have this and this. Let's go to Weird Al. He's too small. So again, we're going to right click on him down here, his purple box on the timeline, do scale to frame size. He gets bigger, but again, because he's a square, we need to stretch him out to make him fit. Go as big as you have to get to the edges. And then let's drag it down. All right, so he fits. Make sure you click anywhere on him except for this little blue circle here. That's not going to move him. That'll just move that anchor point. Get his signature on screen. Kind of a low quality image, but it's okay for now. Go to Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper's a little different. We're just going to double click it, and we're going to move it down until we can see one of the corners. Put your cursor on that corner, but don't click. Then move a little bit outside of it, and you should get this sort of 90-degree angle arrow. Grab it and spin. Rotate it to the right until Dr. Pepper's on its side. Then you can let go, grab it and move it. Grab an edge, one of the dots, and stretch it out. You might have to recenter it a little bit. Perfect. So they all fit now. They all look good. Next, we want to trim the music. The music's way too long. We could zoom out and find the end, but that'll take a while. and you can get the red arrow. I have a better solution for you. On your toolbar, there is a tool. It's the fourth tool. It looks like a double-edged razor blade. Grab that tool, click on it. Your cursor will turn into the razor tool, and then go click on the green music down on the timeline, right where it should end, at the end of Dr. Pepper. Click there. It's going to make a cut. Switch back to your pointer tool. Click on the second part of the music now that you can control them separately, and then hit delete or backspace on your keyboard, and it's gone. And all that's left to do now is actually add transitions between these, because if we play it now, it just kind of jumps from one to the other. Not very exciting. So the transitions, they live in a panel called Effects. What you're going to do is go over down to this corner where you see all your imported stuff. Along the top edge of that, you should see the word Effects. If you don't, hit the double white arrow at the end and go to Effects. Then in here, you'll see a bunch of folders. Look for Video Transitions. Hit the arrow to the left of it to open it. And then these are all your choices. These are categories. Open the first one, Dissolve, and grab Cross Dissolve. And what you do is you drag it, click and hold it, drag it and drop it off right in the middle of Jordan and Ferris on the timeline. And if that worked, when you play, it should fade from one to the other. And if you stop halfway through, you can see both. And then you can just go through these folders. You can go to any one you want and grab another transition, put it between Ferris and Weird Al, see what that looks like. Kind of fun, a little ridiculous. Let's see, slide, whip, I don't know. Just grab whatever ones you want. If it doesn't work, you can just click on the transition. It kind of makes this little box in between them, and hit delete on your keyboard to get rid of it and try a different one. Or you can always undo with Control-Z. Once you get those three, I do want you to continue and put one at the end, the inner edge of Dr. Pepper. See what that looks like. That's the clock effect. A little silly. And get one more. Put it at the beginning of Jordan. That's a zigzag blocks. You use whichever ones you want, though. They don't have to match mine. All right, now there's a transition everywhere. The only thing left to do is we want the music to fade out, because right now it's got an abrupt ending because we cut it. So you're going to go back to the effects panel down here. You're going to scroll all the way up. You're going to open up Audio Transitions, open up the only category, Crossfade, and grab any of these three. I like Constant Gain, but they all work. Drag it and drop it off on the inner edge at the end of the music. And if you want, you can try to grab the very edge of that, the inner edge of that, click it, and you can stretch it out. You can do this to any transition, and it will make the transitions last longer. You know, you don't want to make them too long, or it like takes up the entire time the picture's on screen. Like here's a silly, ridiculous one, right? It's like way too much. So I'm going to undo that. But it helps with the music transition just to make the fade a little more smooth. And if you do all of that, you are ready to export this thing. So go to Export. Let's call it TP or Transition Practice. I'm just going to call it TP. Make sure it's going to Finished Videos. And hit Export. And then go turn that in when it's done exporting to the assignment, which was right after the music. So I'm going to go back to the Transition Practice folder. And you're going to go to the assignment called Transition Practice. And you're going to hit Submit and upload it to that assignment. All right? That's where I want this. So make sure you get a chance to turn that in today.